Welcome to the Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act.
In this week's episode of the Kindness Project, we talk about Ninja, YouTube, and we have part 2 of our interview with Jonathan Jenkins from the London's Air Ambulance.
Welcome to the Kindness Project. I am one of your humble hosts, Chris Dames. I am joined by Charlotte and Russ. And this is take 3 of this current episode of the Kindness Project. Take 1, we got about 10 minutes in, and then somebody started streaming in the back garden, which was a bit of a distraction. Take 2, 2 minutes in, the washing machine went off.
Not even 2 minutes. It was like 30 seconds.
I know.
And we couldn't hear it. You just got up because you got frustrated with it.
And I am literally just waiting for the next noise. I'm literally on tenterhooks about what that next noise might be, because let's revisit a conversation we started in take 1, and we'll
let's revisit a guest quickly first.
Oh, go on in.
Wanderlust. The lady
Martha Lawton.
Martha Lawton has a studio, and I think we should get one.
We need one. We need to do this in a proper studio, don't we?
Ollie had a studio when I went and visited him.
All right. Everybody's got a studio but us.
Everybody's been to their studios other than me.
Well, I've been to Ollie's studio. I've recorded in Ollie's studio and Martha's studio. My studio is, we've got the office, haven't we? We could potentially use the office.
I think that'd be noisier than where you are now, though.
Yeah, I don't know, but
streamer.
Yeah, well, we don't stream in the office, right? So we normally keep the streamer in the garden. Are you using your streamer in your office, and if so, why?
No, but the streamer makes a noise in the garden. You're more likely to hear it in the office than you are in the.
Oh no!
You're talking about the home office, aren't you? I was talking about the office.
Oh
the
no!
Home office
You won't hear a streamer in the office.
No, the office is fine, but the home office is a bit of an issue. I've got too many offices, clearly. And thanks, Russ, because volunteering to pay for this studio was really generous of you.
There's no point, Russ. We've only got a little bit left.
No, we want to carry on podcasting some description, Russ, won't we? So, the fact that you are going to build me an office, a podcast studio, is amazing.
Is it?
It is.
I'd be surprised if it ever happened. That's how amazing it is.
Actually, speaking of, I've taken a leaf out of Russell's book and gone on a couple of YouTube rabbit holes recently.
Go on. We'll have a YouTube rabbit hole.
I was watching a video about home recording studios.
Yeah, I'm saying them.
Yeah,
I'm saying them.
And you soundproof the walls with the padding. You go and sit in your cupboard.
I know somebody who uses egg boxes, and I don't know why egg boxes are so effective. Why are they so effective?
To disperse the noise. Because they've got holes in them, the noise sits in the holes.
Yeah.
Right, okay, fair enough.
And the shape of them as well, just like whenever you see soundproofing, it's always in little triangles like the egg box.
Talking of audio, I've had an amazing find on Amazon.
Go on.
Oh.
So, I'm a fan of Apple products.
Is it a Ninja product?
No.
Oh.
Although I brought 2 new Ninja products.
You're Joe. What have you brought now?
Hold on, I'll tell you about them in a minute. Kenny was flicking through Amazon for some Ninja books, for me Ninja products, and come across Echo Buds.
Right.
Now, I'm a fan of Apple products, and I don't deny it. They're very expensive, but I like them. Nearly £300 I paid for my AirPods. I got these Echo Buds for 50 quid, and they're much better sound quality than the AirPods.
Are they earphones?
Yeah, they're in earbuds.
Earbuds. See, because of my ear issues, I don't use earbuds. I use the aftershock.
No, I couldn't get on with them. I've tried them,
but they are
I feel weird.
No, they're amazing. They're great for running. I was out on my bike earlier on today, just wearing wherever I want. I haven't got to worry about, like, you know what was always frustrating about earbuds? Because particularly because I wear them while I'm
if you're
exercising.
riding a bike on there, the vibrations will fall out.
Yeah, exactly. It's popping out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like that element of, and if you're on a bike, you don't want to sort of be zooming along, lose an earbud, and then like find that it's miles away and you can't find it.
You look round, there it is, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're over a bollard.
That's one of my favourite pair of
Sorry,
headphones
the
I
bottom
ever
of a
had.
bollard.
Right, I fell off my bike. I hit a bollard and fell off my bike once, Russ, and you won't let me. You'll never let it lie, will you?
My favourite pair of headphones I had was bright blue.
Right.
Bright blue.
Sports headphones.
Right.
And they had the little wire that attached them. They were Bluetooth.
Oh, fabulous.
I love these things.
I
They
think
only cost me
most
like
headphones.
15 quid. And they
I think most headphones
a
are
year and a
Bluetooth
half.
now, aren't they? They're just like plug-in headphones.
Yeah,
Go
you
mine.
don't really.
Oh no, Charlotte.
Sorry. Modern phones. I don't know what sort of phone you've got, but modern phones, like my Apple phone, don't even have a port to plug into.
I can plug in mine in my back, but my one's a Ninja phone. You got one of them, Russ?
No.
You got a
got
Ninja
the
phone,
same
Russ?
Let me tell you about my new Ninja products while we're here.
Go on then.
I got the Ninja kettle.
Oh.
It boils.
What is it? Right, calling it boils.
Sorry. It boils to the temperature you set it at. So it does coffee, tea, specialty tea, herbal tea.
Hold on. Can I just share something with you, Russ? My kettle does coffee. My kettle does tea. It does speciality tea. It does herbal tea. Where else can your Ninja one do?
Right, but it's optimized to boil at that temperature.
No, it's marketed to you so that you'd buy it and pay more when a normal kettle would do.
No.
Yes.
It's optimized to that temperature.
Plus, do you drink specialty tea?
No.
Right. Okay.
That's the question you need to be
What
honest.
drink do you have that you need it optimized?
Coffee. Oh, no.
Coffee.
Because I put a dash of cold in my coffee, so I drink
Right.
lukewarm, not. I can set the
lukewarm.
temperature.
Now, I've got this amazing thing called a cold water tap that allows me to do that. I don't know if you've got one in your house.
I've got this amazing thing called just wait 5 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah, just wait for it to cool down. Exactly.
I can't
don't
afford
need a
cold
kettle
water.
to wait for it. Oh, God. Right. Okay.
Cost
So
of living.
a point.
And
Right. Okay. Cost of living. How much was your kettle? And I'll compare it to how much mine was. Cost of living. Go on. Cost of living. How much did you spend on a kettle where you can choose the temperature?
I got a knockdown price. It was 79.
I'll tell you what, the only person who's been knocked down, mate, spending 79 quid on a kettle is you. My Christ, on a bike.
And then I got a hand mixer.
Oh, God.
Also Ninja.
Is that to mix your tea?
No.
Is that to take the tea bag out?
Blender.
Radiocarbon dating is a method for determining the age of an object containing all.
Sorry, why am I hearing about carbon dating?
It's interesting, but it's maybe not relevant.
Who's talking about carbon dating?
Siri decided it wanted a podcast.
All right, okay. So
Russ, don't say the name. You're going to set up all your products.
That's not what happened.
Siri, what's the average price for a kettle?
It doesn't work like that. I haven't got it set like that. But,
right.
I've got the Apple Touch bar on my computer.
Let me ask Hey Google, because I've got that on my phone, right?
Okay.
Hey Google, what's the average price for a kettle in the UK?
$79.99.
Kettles in the UK, $29.99.
Right.
Morphy Richards, other kettles are available. $19.99, 35 quid. On the first page, there's not a kettle over 35 quid.
Okay, I googled it.
Go on.
7558 cordless kettle.
Is your one called this, Raz?
No.
Got a
Cordless.
cold?
Sorry, it's cordless, yeah.
It's got a cold, old school.
All the way
No,
down
it's
to the
not.
other end. $8.98.
Now, I'm sorry. I wouldn't spend 79 quid on a kettle. I'd worry about spending just £8 on a kettle.
No, that sounds right on my street, that.
What? We have got the two extremes here. We've got kettle Rupert Murdoch, who's like got plenty of money for kettles, and then kettle Ebenezer Scrooge. And literally, we've got one kettle extreme to the other.
Russell's careful with his money, so he can afford nice ninja products.
Well, is that? I mean, the reality is, if it I'm not convinced that by spending that money on kettles would make me happy, so I don't.
It don't make me. It don't make me overly happy. I just like consistency
Of temperature of your instant coffee.
I've got ninja coffee machines.
What? You have?
Ninja coffee.
Sorry, you've got a kettle that can boil the water to whatever consistency you want.
Yeah.
Charlotte is now putting notes in the podcast notes.
That's the $8.99
about cheap kettles.
No.
Oh, is that the expensive one? That's the Smeg one, is it?
£139 for a kettle.
No.
It hurt my heart just to see it.
You're only paying for the brand. So we've got the student version, and then we've got the Rockefeller version.
I didn't pay for my kettle. It was here when I arrived. I didn't.
But you'd pay $7.99 for a kettle.
Yeah.
And not worry it blow up after you used it twice.
Nope.
No.
It wouldn't.
Oh, cool. It wouldn't.
You just have to descale it 2 times a year, and then you'd be fine.
You don't want to automatically descale for 80 quid, Rose. You haven't got to worry about that, have you?
No, but there's special pods you can get for it.
Of course they are. Ninja don't miss a trick, do they? What, they made of gold and cost £47 each?
I don't know why you're bad mouthing Ninja.
I'm not.
The amount we talk about money, and we could have advertising.
I tell you what, I'd like to, the amount we talk about money, but the reality is they are a premium brand, aren't they? Are they a premium brand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like premium, so.
You know, particularly when it's good. And look, you're allowed, right? So you don't travel that much, bless you, dear. So you're allowed to spend your money on what you enjoy.
I do enjoy them.
Good stuff. On that note, let's talk
Kindness news.
Right, when you can do kindness news first.
Righto.
We've got kindness news, Worcester edition.
A family who lost everything in a house fire is overwhelmed by kindness after the community rallied together to help pretty family home on Borough Street went up in flames, destroying everything they own apart from the pajamas they fled their home in. People across Droitwich and beyond have been quick to react with donations of toys, clothing and money pouring in for Tracy and John and their 6-year-old son Seth. A Just Giving page set up by Kylie Kelly, who has known the family for 20 years, has already reached a staggering 8,000 in just 3 days. The family said they were blown away by the kindness and support shown by everyone helping to get their life back on track. On Friday, our beautiful home became an ugly duckling. Mrs. Priddy said, "We shall lovingly restore you to your former glory. We would like to thank each and every one of you who have donated to this fund. We are truly overwhelmed. Your support and kindness has blown us away." Police, ambulance and fire service crews were called to the scene around 3 p.m. on Friday. Upon arrival, West Midlands Ambulance Service found a man in his 40s with serious injuries who was taken to Queen Elizabeth Hospital. Medics also assessed Seth for minor injuries before discharging him at the scene. Mrs. Kelly, who owns Gorgeous Hair Design, said that JT is out of the hospital. However, he is expected to have many follow-up appointments for his burns and a possible broken or snapped ligament in his leg. Mr. Kelly added that they are no longer looking for donations after being inundated with offers, but money to pay for new items and to help the family rebuild their lives is still welcome.
I absolutely love that. And I mean, fire is absolutely devastating. I don't know if we spoke about time, but during the summer of last year, I think it was, there was a huge fire. Do you remember it, Charlotte?
There was a series of huge fires, but only one of
Yeah.
them really impacted.
But
It
yeah,
just
burned down. Not actually massively close, but it was over at Raynham Village.
yeah.
Burnt down 9 homes, one of which one of Sophie's schoolmates lived in, and it was really, really, it was a devastating thing to happen. So yeah, and the same thing happened. I think we all get very contemplative and grateful when that happens, because it is at like everything in your house is just completely gutted, isn't it? So same thing happened. I think like in times of crisis, people tend to rally around like that, and I love stories like that. It's amazing. On that note, let's share part 2 of our interview with Jonathan Jenkins from London Air Ambulance. They do amazing stuff that we continue to share in this part of the interview. But I didn't know when the air ambulance actually when I didn't know when the decision was made for the air ambulance to be called out versus a conventional ambulance. So how does that work? What does the process of being called out work?
It's the hardest job in the service, I think, is actually activating us in terms of the most difficult decision to make. And I think most of the clinical teams would agree with us on that. So if you imagine the 999 call centre, you call 999 in London, your call will probably be routed to London Ambulance Service in Waterloo. So there's a big call centre there. We have one of the London's Air Ambulance paramedics who may have been flying on the helicopter the previous day. The next shift will be in that 999 call centre. And out of those 5,000 or 6,000 phone calls that come through on a daily basis, they will be sitting there searching for the 5 patients that we need to visit, so 0.01%. So they will be sitting there. There'll be algorithms that will flag up certain missions. There will be phone calls coming in from other emergency services requiring our help. So we only go to people whom we can give added benefit to above and beyond, a normal land ambulance. So if you look at what we do, sort of things that we would automatically be dispatched to would be somebody falling from more than 2 heights, someone who's been ejected from a car. We go to everybody under a train in London, traumatic amputation above the wrists and ankles. So they're they're life-threatening, definitely life-changing, more often than not life-threatening traumatic injury. So we won't go to people with a heart attack. If you have a heart attack on the streets of London, the London Ambulance Service will be with you in a ridiculously short period of time. So we can't add anything additional there. We'll go to the sort of instance where we can.
It's the trauma, isn't it?
It is.
Right. Okay. Here's where we need urgent help.
Yeah. And there's I'd say there's on average 5 instances of that on a daily basis. But also we'll also go to the major instance. So London, as we know, sadly, suffers from being a target for terrorism. So 7/7, London Bridge, Westminster terror attacks. We were there. Some of the other major incidents which aren't terrorism related, so Paddington train crash, Croydon train crash, sadly Grenfell. We will go to support other emergency service colleagues at all of those major incidents as well.
Yeah, so it's the trauma element that's the big element.
Yeah.
Charlotte?
What story do you think, from your time with the service, best describes sort of the work the service does, and maybe specifically the work you do for the service?
It's funny, Charlotte. I've been thinking about this question for quite a while, because it's no one patient typifies what we do. We've got a patient story released today from Christiana, which is on our website, and there's a number on the website that we have. And I suppose I don't like to, each patient is sacred. So I think it's not so much an individual story, and it's certainly not glorifying the major instance that we attend as well, although they tend to stick in the public's eye. But if you look at any of the number of people that we've been to, whether it's the poor lad who had the incident at the Tate Modern, there are any number of jobs where we've got the best possible doctors, the best possible paramedics in conjunction with the existing London emergency services to be there when people need them the most. And I think I can't give a standard, this is a typical one, because actually what we train for is that every job is different. It could be the mechanism of injury could be slightly different. And
At what point did you realise the impact the air ambulance made for you personally, Jonathan? What stage did you think, you know what, this is such amazing work?
I think I had the privilege to go on an observer shift in one of the cars, not in the helicopter, but in the car, over an evening. And I saw the clinical team in conjunction with other emergency services fighting viscerally to save someone's life. And when you're standing there by the side of the road, you've got loved ones within eyesight. You've got passers-by who've made the phone call, and you just realize that. I think for me, it was yes, they're doing everything they can for the patient involved, but the ripple effect of all the people that have been involved in that incident was really quite. And I think we're only just starting to understand the impact on loved ones, work colleagues. The impact of some of this trauma on an individual's life is quite far-reaching, and it's one of the teams that work with patients beyond the point of impact and actually sort of liaise with them through their journey is actually the people who do really well, the people with the families and loved ones support around them, because it's when we go to them, yes, we provide a time critical intervention, but we're only a very small part of that journey. Which then could be many weeks, months at the NHS, and then go on beyond that. And it's not just the physical injuries; it's obviously the psychological damage as well. So
I suppose one thing that springs to mind as well is the resilience your team must have.
Yeah.
But actually, quite a lot, going to these major incidents where there's trauma involved could be quite a tough job at times. So how do you protect yourself, and how do you as an organisation make sure that your teams are looked after?
Well, there's if you imagine, sort of the doctors and the paramedics are full, technically employees of the NHS, and the emergencies have got a lot of machinery in place to protect their staff in terms of their well-being. We sort of try to support that and add to that where we possibly can. Anecdotally, I think I would say that having spoken to the clinical and operational team, some of their best preferences is actually talking to people who understand the job. So it's talking to their peers. So it's making sure we give them the safe environment, we give them the time, we give them the space and respect to process what they need to process. And it might not be the biggest major incident that they need to process. It could be they've gone to a patient that particularly reminds them of their own child or their own parents. You're never quite sure how people react, and I don't think there's not a normal reaction. Some people are quite comfortable in processing what would strike me as an awful lot of trauma, and other people might need some more support. So I think the important thing is to us, is that we listen and learn and just support what the folks need rather than what we think they need.
100%. I get that. And we've talked about replacing the helicopters and the focus that you need to do that. What other challenges do you face as an organisation at the minute? What are the big things that you're facing that people need to know about?
I think the thing that we've been really resilient is just our ability to raise money from the 110,000 people who give us weekly money, and that's.
And how do they do that? Is that like a direct debit every month?
Yeah, it's a direct debit. We have people who go out there and recruit. You'll see our colleagues and partners out recruiting people. Shopping centres, down the local Sainsbury's and Tesco's, some of the railway stations, talking to people, recruiting people, and we're recruiting people. And the thing that surprises me, Chris, is that given we've got cost of living, it's been a hell of a couple of years. People still find the ability. We're still signing people up to support us at the rate that they were pre-COVID.
I think my experience is there's a bit of a line at the minute where if you're lucky enough to be in a situation where the cost of living is having having an impact, but not as much. I think it does. People are grateful that actually they're in that position when they can give, and they're probably a bit more comfortable doing so, I think. But there is challenges out there. Yeah.
No, absolutely. So in terms of what challenges we're facing, I think we're facing the same as sort of pretty much any other charity. Sort of costs are getting squeezed. It is increasingly competitive. There's lots of good charities, lots of good causes. We're competing. The amount of people that give to charity hasn't significantly changed. In fact, I think it has actually decreased. Over years. So we're increasingly chasing after that same very generous group of people. So I think the biggest challenge for me as chief exec is getting across to people that we're a charity, because actually as soon as people realize we're a charity, they're much, much more likely to give to us and are ridiculously generous when they do. So I think for us, the appeal with the helicopter is, yes, we need to raise X amount of money to buy the 2 new helicopters, get them operational, but it's also an opportunity for us to engage with any different number of communities across London, that we're there for them, and actually we're only there because of them. We've always used we've historically used the expression, we need your help, we hope you never need ours, and that sort of quite neatly sums it up. But again, the attraction, and again, serendipity, Chris, in the way that we bumped into each other, is that we're here because of the kindness of strangers. Most people who donate to us won't ever meet the person who's the end beneficiary of what they've given, but they've fundamentally, hopefully, changed or saved someone's life by giving that money. And
this is the big thing for me, Jonathan. It's about gratitude, isn't it? It's making sure that that service, even if you never use it, is there to support us and support anybody in London when as and when you might, hoping that you never do. But,
and that's why we're all so proud. If you speak to the clinic, everyone's just so proud of being part of the service because of the impact it has, but because of how we're funded. We're very proud that we're a charity. We're very proud that people believe in us in the way that they do. All the other ambulances will say exactly the same. That everybody who supports their local ambulance.
It feels quite a democratically owned organisation for London, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, we're there for anyone, and I think when you look at trauma, so if you look at trauma as a disease, which it is actually recognised as, it's the biggest killer of people under 40. It has more. It causes more loss of life than heart disease and cancer combined. So, and most of, not all, but sort of 60-65% of what we go to is just someone getting up and having the worst day of their lives. It's indiscriminate. It's just things. Life sometimes just happens. So I think from that respect, I think some people see it as an insurance policy. So some donors will say, actually, I hope I never need your services, but if I do, I'm glad you're there. It's that I think that's the thing that sort of certainly inspires me, is that overwhelming sense of generosity from people that we serve and people that we will never meet and will never meet. The beneficiaries.
Long may it continue. Charlotte, have you got additional questions?
Yes. So, what are you excited about or what makes you excited about the future of the London Air Ambulance?
Charlotte, what makes me excited is we are, as much as we're working very hard to pay for 2 new aircraft, we're also starting to work out what our next 15 years looks like after the strategy, which takes us to the rather weird date of 2039, which is meaningless for most people. That will be 50 years of London's air ambulance. So we're trying to be as ambitious as we possibly can as to, rather than just looking at what we're doing in the next 2 years, what we do in the next 3 years. I'm a great believer that me and all of my colleagues at the Air Ambulance are there to be good ancestors. So what are people going to look like?
Leaving a legacy, isn't it?
Absolutely. So
leaving a legacy for your work.
So what can we be doing in 15 years, which the rest of us need to put some basic founding blocks now. So and principally that's what clinical interventions can be done. So if you look at some of the advances that we've had before, carrying blood, doing open chest surgery, reinflating lungs. So there's lots of world first. So it's constantly looking at what can we do more of by the side of the road. And as technology advances, stuff gets smaller, gets more portable,
I'd imagine the challenge you've got is what we're going to be able to do with medical technology in 15 years hasn't been implemented or invented.
No, absolutely,
right? Yeah.
absolutely. But it's a case of things have changed already over the last few years. So we've got electric bikes, the electric scooters. Electric scooters weren't a thing 5 years ago. We'd never heard of them. So that's changing the way that people use London. London did get pedestrianised quite a lot, which is great from reducing sort of road traffic collisions, but not so great if you're trying to drive emergency vehicles across it.
Yeah.
So there's London will change, and so how do we adapt around it? But the one thing that we know, because we've done an awful lot of research, there will still be a need for a helicopter to get people and equipment
quickly
to certain people with certain injuries as quickly as possible. So we know that won't change. But actually, everything that we're looking to do is how many interventions can we do by the side of the road, but also what can we do where we can just stabilize someone and almost press the pause button on the process of death. So someone who's got injuries that they have to be solved in hospital, which most of them do, but how can we stabilize them to the extent that we can keep them neurologically intact, so then that we can get them to where they need to be? So it's constantly pushing the boundary on that. So we now carry ultrasounds because the technology has got smaller. There's a procedure called ECMO, which is effectively a heart and lung bypass machine, which keeps all the perfuses all the major organs with oxygenated blood
in the helicopter without...
Well, yeah, absolutely. So it's how do we do that outside of hospital in the time frame to make it a useful intervention? So there's lots of research going on into that. So I think you'll see us doing a lot more research on top of what we've done before, looking at embracing innovations in technology. But for me, it's actually, as long as we continue to attract the world-leading clinical brains and match their ambitions of what is possible. As every clinician I've ever met is driven by the patient they didn't help as much as they wanted to or could do, given whatever the constraints were. And I don't, given these people, I can't see that ever ending. So it's just what they're constantly driven by. What could we do better next time? What can we do? How can tomorrow's patient be better than today's patient?
How do you as an organisation keep in front of that innovation and make sure that you are on track? Is there a community of like air ambulances that look at that? So how does it work?
Yeah, so actually, last week was National Air Ambulance Week. So we have an umbrella body, the Association of Air Ambulances UK. So we get together. It's a small world. So a lot of the clinical teams have worked for any number of different air ambulances. So they all know each other. They all talk to each other. I'm sure there's competitive pressures in there, but there's also an awful lot of collaboration as well. So I think.
Well, I mean, Cornwall, they're cheeky being 2 weeks earlier than you, Jonathan, aren't they? Clearly, I mean that's well out of order.
I know, but it's really it's really interesting. If you look at someone like Cornwall, so Cornwall, land on the beach. They do sort of stuff on the side of cliffs, which are way beyond our, stuff that we would ever look to do, because that's just not the sort of people we go to. So it's really interesting. If you look at all the air ambulances, we all do things slightly differently because our patient cohorts are all.
Well, it's interesting because when we interview the guys at Yorkshire Air Ambulance, a lot of their stuff is very rural. Very like sort of somebody goes out walking and has an incident and can't move. And in London, you just wouldn't. Like there'd be too many people around that could support you in terms of getting that done. So I see the challenges being different.
Yeah, and in London, because we're if you look at what we go to, 30% roughly is road traffic collisions.
Yeah,
around about 30% is falling from heights or falling under stuff, whether intentionally or unintentionally, and about a third is penetration trauma, which is shooting and stabbings. So it's been that way largely. It hasn't really changed much over 35 years. It's been pretty much that divide. So that's where our skill set is.
And fundamentally different to other air ambulances.
Absolutely, who do other things exceptionally well that we wouldn't be within what our normal experience would be. So no, we all do swap notes. Quite consistently, and also internationally as well. As you say, that there's a lot of international folks come over. We had a a clinician over from Norway who spent 2 years with us. And because of the volume of what we saw, he calculated he saw 23 years worth of Norwegian trauma in the 2 years that he worked with us because of the sheer volume. So, people get a lot of experience sort of fairly quickly in London over a certain time.
For somebody who loves London, I don't know what that says about London and or Norway.
No.
I have to think about that. Just give some, just share with us, Jonathan. Number one, how can people support, get in touch, find out a bit more about how they can help, and where can they find out more about the work you do?
Well, the website, londonsairambulance.org.uk, and that's where the S becomes incredibly important because it's londonsairambulance.org.uk.
Yep.
We're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, we're on all the social media you would expect. If you want to have a good glance at what we do, actually, Emergency, the TV program just came out on Channel 4 that actually showcases a number of patients' journeys. And from speaking to a number of the clinicians, it's one of the best representations of the whole London trauma system. So it's ourselves, the hospitals that we serve, and the ambulance service. So that's definitely worth looking at. All our contact details are on our website, and we're more than happy to speak to anybody in any way, shape, or form. There's via the website, there's every opportunity to donate, whether it's a regular or one-off donation. Or whether you just like us to come speak to people about what they do. So a lot of what we do is we speak in schools, we speak to a lot of community groups, just explaining who we are and what we do. So when they see that helicopter, they get that rush of pride, and also they understand, it's a rush of pride, but also that sense of someone's having the worst possible day, but the best possible team is going to try and help them.
I love that. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Kindness Project. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and thanks for the inspirational holiday reading. It was great.
So that was the last part of the interview with Jonathan. I think you'd agree, London Air Ambulance do amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Because I know what Charlotte was doing. She was looking for her joke of the week.
Yeah, it is.
Go on, what's it going to be?
I started a new job as a tailor last week. It's been so-so. I don't even try and get you anymore. If I get Russ, that's good enough.
Yeah, but Russ laughs at anything. Russ laughs at... Right, I'm going to give you one more chance to make me laugh.
Pick one about sausage. That'll make him laugh.
You got any sausage-related jokes?
What, a sausage dog joke?
Oh, yeah.
Go on then.
It's in my list.
Is it about sausages being fed to Russ's dog?
Why did the cowboy get a wiener dog?
Don't know.
He wanted to get a long little doggy.
And on that note, my friends, that is another episode of the Kindness Project. Sophie's got a joke. We might have to start a competition, Charlotte. We do Charlotte's joke of the week, Sophie's joke of the week, and we'll see how we get on.
What's the best thing about Switzerland?
I don't know, but the flag's a big plus.
Sus.
What's the best thing about Switzerland? I don't know, but the flag is a big plus. I like that. Well done. And on that note, and on that note, that's the end of another Kindness Project. Have a lovely week, and we'll see you on the podcast soon.
Bye.